1 out of 5 people in Houston live in poverty, according to a new Census Bureau data.
Those recently released numbers give Houston a pretty stark designation, the top of the list of the highest poverty rate among America's largest cities. ABC 13 reporter Sarah Alshaik diving deeper into the data and explaining live with us now, Sarah, why some say the city is in this position to begin with.
Yeah, that data showed a little over 21% of Houston residents lived at or below the federal poverty line last year. An expert I spoke with at the Kinder Institute says there's a lot of factors contributing to that high number, one of them being a lack of high-wage jobs in the city. New data giving us insight into how many Houstonians are struggling to make ends meet.
We should aim to be number one in many things. This is not one of them.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, about 21.2% of Houston residents lived at or below the federal poverty line.
So y'all out here struggling in Houston and y'all be talking shit?
21.2% of Houston residents lived at or...
Y'all out here in Houston, of all the major cities in the United States of America, Houston is out here being dusty? Houston is out here being dusty? Of all the major cities in the United States of America, are you telling me that Houston is out here being dusty? And Dog says it's bad out here, man. I didn't know. Somebody says Houston is still recovering from the Katrina refugee crisis. I didn't know that Houston. Listen, everything that they tell me on the internet, because I've been to Houston several different times, I've always said that Houston is probably the Portland is the worst city I've ever been to. Houston is the worst design city that I've ever been to. Everybody keep acting like, oh, move to Houston, move to Houston. Houston is the new Atlanta. The only thing that I've ever heard about Houston is that the city is broke, that they in poverty, that they the most poverty-stricken major city in the United States of America, and because they was also broke, the mayor, the incoming mayor, the one that's just recently gotten mayor, said that the city was completely broke and that y'all got high STD rates. Is that there's a huge outbreak of STIs and STDs in Houston. I have never heard anything that anybody tells me that Houston is popping. And it take 1 hour to get from one side of the city to the other one, and it's got bad city planning. And y'all can't fix y'all water mains. That's what I keep hearing about Houston, bro. I didn't know that y'all was out here struggling. I didn't know that Houston was out here struggling. I didn't know that y'all was the ones that was the most in poverty of all of the major biggest U.S. cities.
Or below the federal poverty line in 2024.
For about the past decade, Houston has been around this mark of 21% on or off for about 10 years now.
That number exactly double the national poverty rate of 10.6%, according to census data. But why are we here? What factors contribute to this high number?
You're missing jobs that are paying between about 100.
And y'all got serial killers out there on the loose, and y'all city won't say that y'all actually got serial killers. And y'all got serial killers on the loose.
$100,000 and $150,000.
Daniel Potter, the director of the Houston Population Research Center at the Kinder Institute, says Houston has plenty of jobs, but not enough offering high wages.
Not working. We are absolutely working, and we've got the jobs that are here. The questions that sort of pop up are, what are those jobs?
Ultimately, Potter says this data helps shed light on where we stand as a city. Information, he says, can hopefully create better policies to move the needle on this issue.
We are talking about things that you can change and you can move. It's just recognizing we've got to make sure we're prioritizing those living.
See, that's why I don't be listening to what people be talking about. People just be saying stuff. Oh, man, no, y'all be living in poverty out here. Everybody acting like they balling. I don't believe that. Millionaire Manual says, AD, do you believe most people don't have $1,000? It depends on what you're asking for. If you ask somebody, If you told a person that sat there and say, man, I don't have $1,000 in the case of an emergency, well, it depends on what the emergency is. Do they have big discipline? And is it some box available? Because if it's the only box that's been available, I bet you they figure out how to come up with $1,000. I know people that say they broke that can come up with $1,000 like that, depending on what it is that they paying for. Tell somebody, hey, they about to go on a girls' trip to Tulum. They're going to come up with their money. They're going to beg, borrow, steal, kill, sell, box. They're going to go and get some payday loans. They're going to use their credit cards. They're going to do whatever. It depends on what it is. Most people don't have $1,000 for things that they don't want to spend no money on. But for what they want to do, they get on a payment plan. They save, they stack, they put their money up. I don't believe it. I see people that's walking around with jeans that cost $1,000, but then they say that they broke. That's because all of their money is in their jeans and stuff. Again, most people have self-inflicted wounds. Most people have self-inflicted wounds. Do I believe that most people don't have $1,000 for the stuff that they don't feel like having $1,000 for? Do I believe that most people got $1,000, can come up with $1,000? Yes, I believe that most people can come up with $1,000. They're not going to take care of the things that they're supposed to take care of. They're not going to get their oil changed. They're not going to get on the tires. They're not going to do preventative maintenance. They're not going to pay their rent up ahead of time. I know people that wait to the very last minute to pay their rent. I know people that wait to the very last minute to pay their rent. I know people that wait to the last minute to pay their phone bill. I used to get paid back in 2010, 11, 12, 13. I used to get paid once a month. So what it forced me to do, and this is the things that God has prepared me for, what it's forced me to do is it forced me to pay everything at one time. It would force me to pay everything at one time. So as soon as I got paid, and I just kept that same habit. I never parsed out if I got paid every 2 weeks, any of that type of stuff. Everything that I ever budgeted from then on was, what do I need for the month? What do I need for the month? So as soon as I get a lump sum of money, I'll pay everything all at the same time. Even if I was like not liquid or broke, right? Even if it cost me everything, and then anything that I would have to do extra, I would have to tap into my investments or something like that. That's why I don't mind being broke. I was raised broke. I never tripped about being broke. So when I would get my paycheck, I would budget based off of how I can spend every single dollar and be broke. And so my definition of broke now is to spend every single dollar, right? So I'll budget this. I'll put whatever amount over into my brokerage account. I set a bunch of money up in order to be able to pay contractors, whatever I got to pay contractors for as far as building houses. And I pay everybody, all of the people. Whatever is left, that's what I'm rocking with. I don't touch that. I don't touch that. I'm not digging into my brokerage for anything that I don't got to do with an investment. And I pay everything. I pay everything at one time, everybody at one time. When the phone bill get paid, all of the employees is getting paid in the same day. Everybody get paid at the same time. As soon as I get a check, I bust it down with all of my friends. And then I put all of my contractors on a net 30. I put all of my contracts on a net 30. So what does that mean to put your contractors on a net 30? That means that whatever payments that they want, and I had to train all of my contractors to actually do this, right? Let's say, for example, you got the excavator, and then you got the drywall people, and then you got the electrician or whatever. That means that they have to submit their invoices to my people in my company, and then they're going to get paid within the next 30 days. That's how the big boys do it. So stop letting people hit you up and say, hey, man, you know, I need some more money for materials and all of that other stuff. Nope. Books is closed for the month. You got to submit your stuff before the 25th, 26th, and then you can get paid by the 30th. If you submit it on the 27th, 28th, then that means you're going to get paid the following month. So whatever it is that they submit in their invoices is, you probably going to get paid within the next 30 days unless you submitted it before a certain date. And I ain't going to say all of that. I'm going to leave that part out of it. Again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with 10 notifications. Sister, shout out to Sister. I appreciate you. Sister says, Mr. AD. Man, I think I missed some. I got to go back to the super chats. Mr. AD and the Chasers fan, Mr. AD, please restart reminding us to share you and your content with friends and family. 1 million, here we come. Shout out to Sister. I'm so thankful that you're here with me on this journey. The inner city is bad, says clean. The outer cities is booming. Depends on what city you go to. Depending on what city you go to, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Chris Cunningham, says I emailed you a video where they big sweep there. Have I ever been to Charlotte? Nope, I haven't been to Charlotte yet. I have not been to Charlotte. Y'all give me a list of cities that y'all want me to stop through. And then we'll stop through. Let me see what else is out here in the streets. WNBA pay, record high stock ownership, raises red flags amongst economists. Let's start over there and then we'll go over to WNBA play.
Also new this morning, the stock market has been rising. Americans have more money in stocks than ever before. Economists are warning that could be a problem, and then a market downturn could hit Americans harder than ever before. CNN's Matt Egan looking into this one for us this morning. What are you seeing, Matt?
Well, Kate, this is a double-edged sword, right? When markets are booming, like they have been, market rallies can really be a very good thing for the economy, right? Each record high can inspire confidence, get people to spend more money, right? Go out to dinner, buy a car, take a vacation. Of course, the problem is that it really does cut both ways because they're also exposed to potential market meltdowns that have happened in the past. And these really are historic levels of exposure. If you look at stock holdings, direct and indirect, like through 401ks and retirement plans, stocks make up 45% of household finances, right? Almost half. That's the most on record that goes back to the 1950s. And when
you know what the worst part about this whole situation is, as I look at this and they say, oh man, it's a red flag amongst economists. Is it a crash coming or whatever, right? It's not bad for personal finances, Kevin King, at all. You know what this tells me? This tells me that people that are not a part of the bag chasers or the people that's not a part of this, while we sitting here complaining, it's a lot of people that's running up a bag. When Trump got into office, I begged people to dump as much money as they possibly could in the stock market. When the stocks went down, I begged people. Somebody, Chad Diggins, says, can you cover your personal real estate strategy? I do. It's inside of the Patreon. Literally, it's inside of the Patreon. The last video that we did, we got another live stream tomorrow. The last video that we did, I literally show every receipt for everything that I've been doing in real estate. This tells me that so many people have missed out on so much wealth. So many, look, sister, a part of the Patreon, my portfolio was up 51%. Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know how much money that is? Do you know what kind of numbers that is? With your portfolio, y'all don't really get the type of money that people. And then people will sit there and say, oh, man, we're not getting the money. We're not getting the information. It's right there in front of your face. Do you know how crazy it is in the bag chasers that we got people with a 51% up rate on their portfolio. Up rate on their portfolio. And I beg people, that's why when sisters send me money and stuff, I'll be like, well, I guess I'll take it because y'all making so much fucking money. Y'all making so much money. Y'all making so much money. I don't even be feeling bad no more because I'm like, everybody up, everybody getting money. We just gonna keep running up a bag. The only people that missed out is the people that's sitting out there protesting and it's people that's sitting up there complaining. We literally just be sitting there watching money go up. We had an explosion and that's how I went and bought my 911. I was like, all right, well, that's 911 money. After capital gains tax, we still got enough money to go and buy us a little 911. Cool. Cool. And they want to try to scare you on CNN. Oh my God, it's so scary.
Look at the trend here. You can see how this is really, really increased in terms of how much of people's portfolios stocks take up. Look at this. Go back to 1980. It was just 13%. Today, it's 45%.
Well, 1980, they were idiots. Now it's 45% because people don't want their money sitting there and not making money on top of money.
Now, one thing I would note, though, is that this doesn't cut equally, right? The top 10% of households actually own 87% of the stocks, but still, the higher income households, those are the ones that are really keeping this economy afloat. And if there's a market reversal, a downturn, well, they could stop spending. And I think that this really does underscore why it was so critical that market meltdown that we saw in March and in April over the president's tariffs stopped, right? If it didn't, it could have caused a self-fulfilling prophecy, actually causing a recession. Of course, the president blinked on those tariffs. He paused them for a period of time, and the market's really been off like a rocket ship ever since then. The S&P 500 has gained $15 trillion in value just since April 8th. A stunning figure. I think the bottom line is, Kate, you and I often talk about how the market is not the real economy, right? But I do think that this record high exposure shows that the market does have a significant.
I'm so disgusted at the fact that so many people have not taken advantage of what's happening in the market right now. So many people could have literally gotten rich, run up a bag just this year alone. Just this year alone, people could have literally ran up a bag. But no, they wanted to sit there and complain. I remember I was seeing people inside of my chat saying stuff like, aha, Anton, look at the markets. I can't believe it. My 401k is in the dumps and all of that stuff. We don't see none of them people no more. Where did they go? Where did all of the people go that was sitting there complaining about what was happening in the stock market? Where did they go? How come we don't see them anymore?